Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown. I have been on a movie watching tear as of late, man. I've watched a whole bunch of not just movies, but some TV stuff too, specifically animated shows. Big Mouth back on Netflix and Animaniacs on Hulu. That review will definitely be coming. Big Mouth, I don't know if I'll talk about it because I haven't talked about the other seasons. Maybe we'll do all of them. I don't know, but I've been watching a lot of stuff, and it's officially December. We're in that Christmas time period, and well, if you want to know what kind of Christmas mood I'm in this year, in the year of 2020, the fact that the first Christmas movie of the year, outside of the Star Wars Holiday Special that I watched, was this movie, probably says a lot. What might even say more is I don't really have tons of bad things to say about this movie, and I thought I would have lots. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready. I can't believe that I'm actually going to be reviewing this movie. When I heard this was a thing, I was like, I'll throw that on one night as a goof, and then now we're talking about it. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Fatman. That's right. I heard about this movie a little while back. My mom had actually hit me up, and she was like, "Did you hear that Mel Gibson is playing Santa Claus?" And I said, "No, but that sounds hysterical. Like, I would imagine that would be an outrageous movie." And then she was like, "Yeah, Walton Goggins is in it, and he's an assassin trying to kill Santa Claus, and Mel Gibson is a gun-wielding Santa." And I was like, oh man, yeah, this movie's gonna be outrageous. And that's what I was prepared for. I was prepared for a movie called Fatman, where Mel Gibson plays a Santa Claus who wields a gun. I've seen lots of different takes on Santa Claus outside of the traditional take. And I was on board. I was like, this will be ridiculous. It'll probably be terrible. And what's ridiculous is that I like this movie quite a bit. It's wild that I enjoyed this. I did not expect to enjoy this movie. I thought it was just going to be something that after a couple beers I could throw on, get a good laugh, maybe have some ridiculous entertainment, and then not talk about it. Because, like, why tear down, a movie with Walton Goggins and Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus? But I actually ended up liking this movie a lot. And so much of that goes to writer-directors Isham and Ian Nelms, and the performances, specifically, of Mel Gibson and Walton Goggins. And more specifically than anything, Mel Gibson. But it starts with the story. I think the Nelms brothers deliver a really, really honest, serious take of what Santa Claus could be like in 2020. If you were to actually apply, like, that Santa lives in the world and not just like in a magical land at the North Pole, this is a really genuine take on what Santa Claus would be like in the year 2020 if he did indeed live in an actual place that you could go and find, and if he was dealing with the way Christmas is kind of turned into this massive, money-making machine for, the conglomerates of America and all over the world. I mean, if you make toys or clothes or anything, Christmas, really kind of boosts all of that. And this movie takes a look at that and what that means to Santa Claus and the idea of the Christmas spirit and, the naughty and nice list. And I honestly thought that Mel Gibson played a really, really good Santa. Like, the things that he's presented with. Like, basically, he's got a contract with the U.S. government to go and do all the things that he's got to get done, and they help, pay for all the supplies and things that, the elves and everybody needs to make all the toys and things for kids. But that's all based on how much Santa turns out. So if you got a lot of asshole kids that are getting coal and you're producing less presents, well, Santa's going to make less money. And because of that, he takes on a contract to actually have his elves, like, build, like, weapon type stuff or like, system boards for, like, military jets and stuff. So, like, they have an actual contract with the military so that they can get a surplus of money so that they can deliver on the following Christmas. is wild and it's kind of out there, but they take it really seriously, and so does Gibson. And that performance felt really, really earnest and felt like an honest take on a Santa in 2020, to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm kind of here for this movie, because like it doesn't seem super far-fetched. Like if you were going to tell me there was going to be a movie with Santa Claus wielding a gun, I probably would have figured it was going to be far-fetched. And they really take the movie quite seriously. And I really enjoyed Mel Gibson's take. Like the way in which he starts at the beginning of the movie, you know, and it's kind of like The Year Without a Santa Claus to a degree. And like he sees the way the world has gone, it's kind of made him grumpy. And we get to see, like, spoilers, Santa go into a bar. And then we get to see Santa interact, you know, with Mrs. Claus at home, which another thing that I loved, Marianne Jean-Baptiste plays Mrs. Claus, a black Mrs. Claus. It was a really nice race bend, I thought. And I really, really enjoy Marianne Jean-Baptiste. She's wonderful anytime she pops up in anything. And she plays a really, really good Mrs. Claus, to the point that, like, she kind of gives that support to Mel's character, and, you know, kind of, who's Kris Kringle, by the way. It doesn't go by Santa Claus in the movie. So you know, she's talking to Chris and kind of gives him that boost that he needs to kind of make some of the tough decisions, but also see that, like, you know, it's not so bad. Like, there is some Christmas spirit and some things to kind of bounce back from. And kind of seeing, you know, the grumpy version of Kris Kringle and the more hopeful version of Kris Kringle. I think Mel Gibson handles that really well. And then when you get to the third act of this thing and things go down with Walton Goggins, Mel handles that version of Santa Claus really well too, and it felt legitimate. Walton Goggins, on the other side of all of this, is an excellent assassin. He really plays like that no-nonsense, and he's working for a kid. It's a kid who gets coal on Christmas, and is so pissed that he calls Walton Goggins, a rich kid, to go assassinate Santa Claus. And he plays the type of assassin who, like, hates the fact that he's taking orders from this little kid, but takes his job really seriously. And by the time you get to that third act where him and Santa throw down, is enjoyable, because Goggins' character kind of was burned by Santa as a little kid, so he has this hatred, and he's got this whole thing that he's always, like, besides being an assassin, there's this whole other element to Goggins' character that I loved. I thought it was such a genius concept and genius thing to include into a story about a kid who got burned by Santa to some degree because he wasn't a good kid. You know, like Santa Claus, at one point, Chris, like in the movie, is like, it's not my fault that, like, a kid gets coal or doesn't get coal. Like, the kids dictate who's naughty and nice type stuff. And I just like Goggins' approach. It's very here, you know, very no nonsense. And when he finally gets to throw down with the fat man, all of a sudden there is a lot more emotion behind what he's doing. I'm gonna give you one spoiler, just one spoiler. So if you don't want any spoilers, cover your ears. And then I'll do my clapping that I always do after I do a spoiler. So here it comes, man. Spoiler in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cover your ears. One thing in this movie I did not like. You could have done this movie exactly as it was. And if you would have just removed this one thing from the movie, I really, really would have liked it. But I did not personally care to see Santa Claus get shot in the head. That is a massive spoiler. Walton Goggins shoots Santa Claus in the head. We see it point blank, but, you know, Santa's magic, so he naturally comes back and now is Santa Claus with a patch. But that one took me out of the movie a little bit. I was like, I didn't need to see Santa Claus get shot. Like, he had Goggins on the ropes. You could have just ran with that and let the movie end, and I would have been, wow, like, what if this is actually a really good movie. But something about physically actually seeing Santa Claus get shot in the head, even if that Santa Claus is Mel Gibson, really hurt me. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't need that. And then you have to kind of sit there for like the next 10 minutes or so wondering if Santa's gonna come back, which you know he obviously would. So there you go, man. You can take your ears off, like, come on back. No more spoilers. But that one thing almost ruined the movie completely for me. It really took me out of it. But outside of that, I thought everything that the Nelms brothers did here really worked. Like I said, it was a really legitimate take, and it's a fun story. Like, you know, it might not be for everybody if you prefer your Santa to be a specific way, but I thought the Mel Gibson take on Kris Kringle and putting Kris Kringle in the real world in 2020, and dealing with commercialism and what that means with the way kids are now. I thought all those things hit home and checked off all the things that you want in a Christmas movie. And I really enjoyed the elves in the movie. The elves are great. Number 7, I believe, is the guy who's like the main foreman that runs everything. He's fantastic, and I just love the way that they utilize them and the way they utilize the idea of the workshop and the fact that like supplies cost money; they don't just appear, and how that plays into this agreement with the U.S. government and eventually the U.S. military. And we have Captain Jacobs, played by Robert Boxall. Fantastic. He's wonderful. Like when he shows up, I love his relationship with Chris, and I love how they interact and how they kind of set up the workshop for these few months to kind of build these circuit boards for jets and stuff. And it was definitely an out there movie that could have taken an out there take, but because they took a more earnest, legitimate take, it grounded the movie a lot more than I expected it to be, and because the shooty part of the movie isn't really until the finale, you get to watch Mel play a really honest version, I think, of Kris Kringle, specifically a Kris Kringle that could exist in 2020. Like, you watch this movie and go, I buy that guy exists in the world somewhere. And I thought that was just kind of really cool. So, was this the perfect movie? No. Was it a knock it out of the ballpark movie? No. But was it something that I wasn't expecting and was pleasantly surprised by and totally worth a watch? 100% yes. Outside of that one thing that I kind of spoiled. So there you go, man. Those are all my thoughts. In a world where 2020 is what 2020 is, Fatman's not a terrible Christmas movie. Those are my thoughts. Now I want to know what you're thinking. Do you think I'm batshit crazy for enjoying Fatman? Did you enjoy Fatman? What did you like or dislike about the movie? And no matter where you land on the movie, what did you think of Mel Gibson's take on Kris Kringle? I think even if you don't like the movie, I think Mel played it really straight, and that surprised me. I didn't expect to get that earnest of a performance. So if you thought that Mel was there, awesome. If not, what was I missing? What didn't work with Mel or with Walton Goggins' character or anybody who shows up in the movie? Specifically, Chance Hurtsfield, who I didn't mention, who plays Billy, the kid who hires Goggins. He's fantastic too. Like, he is a perfect little asshole child. And like, you totally understand why he is the way he is too. So I dug all that stuff. If you didn't or did, let me know that down below in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the Seaman anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions, specifically Christmas movies. As we get closer to Christmas, I'll probably pop in some more Christmas reviews that aren't Santa Claus wielding a gun. Hey, you want to be here for all that stuff and you haven't yet, you want to come show a little love and support for the old Seaman, I certainly would appreciate it. We are so close to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. If you want to help contribute on that journey, jump over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Come join Seamaniac Nation. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down, I've been the Seaman. I'm signing off. Well, as I live and breathe, you still here? Check out a video like this one or this one and hit the subscribe button so you can get alerts and check out everything the Seaman's got at the Cinema Sit Down.